So it's the 30th of June today, and this Hebe's been flowering for a few weeks now. I can see the bees are making the most of it. Starting to fade a bit now, but this is a brilliant plant, Hebe Wirry Charm. Got this a couple of years ago, and it seems to be thriving in this position. Underneath got some campanulas. These have been flowering for a couple of months, started quite early. I've got some quite along. You can see some of the flowers are starting to fade, but there's still some flowers going strong. Another Hebe there. This has just started flowering now. Can't remember the name of this. I think it's Caledonia. A lot of these Hebes seem to flower around about the same time, so they look really good together. Another one there. The bees have been all over this, and this is coming to an end now. It's been flowering all the way through June. And look at this here. Got this little couple of these plug plants, Fabricia, and they're still flowering. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with these just yet. This peach tree. No peaches on it this year. To be honest, I thought I'd lost it last year. I've had this about 2 years. The first year I got peaches from it. The second, it was absolutely battered by peach leaf curl. So we cut the whole thing back, treated it with some sort of copper spray. There wasn't much copper in the spray for some reason, despite the rain we've had this year. No leaf curl, so it looks like it's back in business. So hopefully next year I might get some peaches from it. I ordered a load of these geraniums this year. Some of them are looking pretty good. Some was pretty similar. And when they came, some were bigger in the pot, and there were certain pots that were smaller. For some reason, some are thriving, some aren't growing that well. But it's early days. We literally only planted it like the past couple of months. So hopefully over the next few years, these will really start to spread out a bit. Apple tree's going well. Cut this back to fit into this gap. It doesn't appear to have struggled. Still doing really well. Still got fruits on there. What's this little insect here on the plant? Is that a wasp? I'll have to watch that. Got the wasps will be all over the fruit trees once July, August comes along. This palm tree here I think it was damaged last year during the winter. It started producing these really small fronds. You'll give it an idea. See, like these fronds here, for some reason I thought it was a goddard, to be honest, but it started to recover a bit, and the fronds have started to increase in size, so hopefully this will come back for me. It's a volcano. I've got a better looking versions of this around the garden. Planted this lupin. It come in like a 1 litre pot as like a freebie. Some other plants I bought. I had no idea where to put the thing. Planted it here. It's thrived in this sort of condensed space. Flowers look great though. I'll have to think of a place to put this. Somewhere else in the garden. But I am running out of space. Red Star Cordyline. Starting to put on quite a few leaves now. If I can get this to a reasonable size, you never know, it might just survive any big freeze that comes our way. Trachycarpus. This is going to start putting out some new leaves now. It's quite small, this one. I think it's because it's into such a tight space. It's growing nevertheless. I think these Wagnerianus or Wagnerianus Trachycarpus palms, they grow quite slow anyway. Look at this. The winter creeper. I've done a video about this before. It's starting to come up right against the wall. I've done a video about this volcano palm before. It's in a shady spot. This time of year it's getting about 3 hours sun. In most of the year it's only about 2 hours, but look, not getting much sun, but the fronds are fine. It's still growing quite happily. These prefer full sun, but this is quite happy here in shade. Look at this one. Aloe aristata, the hardest aloe plant you can grow. But to be fair, this has been pelted by rain. We had nearly the wettest June on record until we got a bit of sun towards the end of the month. It's sat here during the winter, which is again really wet. It's coming back, it's recovering. And look at this, it's flowering. Doubt you'll see many of these in people's gardens. Flowering aloe aristata. Look at the soil though. You're supposed to grow these in really well drained soil, and I have mixed a bit of sand, a bit of grit, a bit of well drained soil, but there's a bit of clay in there as well. But it's not doing too bad. If you're going to plant an aloe, this is one to plant. Volcano here, this one grows in full sun. Nice big fronds on this one. This is one of the sunniest spots of the garden. I think this volcano is going to rocket in the next few years, even if they are quite slow growing. Planted this year. When I moved into this garden, there was very few perennials, so it's only this year I've started really planting them. So it's a bit of an experiment. Got this from an online garden centre. Salvia Blue Hill. 6 plants this. Planted them in the spring. And look at it now. Fantastic perennial. Lasts a long time. Sometimes you get a bit of slug damage, but I've managed to get away with it. Not much slug damage at all. Fantastic blue flowers. The bluest you can get with this type of salvia. And if you dead this one as well, it comes back again with more flowers. Really love this plant. All this area is newly planted this year. Originally it was just full of a Cooper's japonica, spotted laurel. Found that a bit boring, so I decided to make a total change. Kept the spotted laurel there. Be ashamed to lose that. But as you can see, planted the boot here earlier in the year. There's a new frond on this. Interesting to see how many new fronds come out of this plant this summer. We've had a really wet June and May wasn't great either, so I'm just hoping that July really picks up with the weather and this plant can really kick on. Another brand new plant, Morello cherry at the back. I'm hoping that's going to go up against the wall. Early days yet, very young plant. Planted a few daylilies, Stella d'Oro, really young plants. A few years before this really kicks off in this part of the garden. Got a Nandina, Gulf Stream. That'll be really nice when that grows a bit more. Really shady spot at the back. I've got that Mahonia. I think it's in full shade most of the day, but she was quite happy. That will eventually tower over this camellia because if the growth is really fast. So hopefully we'll get some yellow flowers in the winter from that when there's not much else happening in the garden. People buy these heucheras for the foliage. The flowers are underrated, I think, though. These look great. It's fitting nicely with these other 2 shrubs here. The skivia and the ominous bush. Nice flowers on that geranium. Got that as a cutting. I don't know what type it is or what the name of it is, but it's nice. These Trachycarpus palms are starting to put out some new fronds. Take a couple of years for these to really establish. Again, these are all newly planted. A couple of years, they start setting some growth down underneath. Start putting some root down. Once that happens, when they've started rooted, when they're rooted, they'll start putting out loads of leaves. Forest flame there. That's the start of the show in the spring really, but there's a couple of new red leaves coming out here. Again, you can't beat a heuchera, can you? Look at the colour of this one. This year I planted an entire hedge almost of this catmint, Summer Magic. It's looked great for about 2 months and the bees have loved it. Needs cutting back now. Flowers are starting to fade, so I'll deadhead it and this will come back for another session. As you can see what happens with this. This is actually quite a compact variety. Starts getting a bit leggy, and I do suspect that we've had some from visitors. Cats love this stuff, and you can tell they've been having a little sit down in certain parts of the catmint. All of the branches have snapped. Planted these crocosmias next to the catmint. A lot of crocosmia leaves. This is classic variety, Crocosmia lucifer. Hasn't really started flowering yet, but when this does flower, I think it's going to be a really good contrast in colours between the red and the bluey purple colour of this catmint.